Uh, my sister is texting me all this stuff. Um, Hello, hello. Sound check, sound check. How is everyone? Please let me know in the comments how the sound is. I'm always like so paranoid now that my sound is not working. So until I can get over my paranoia, I'm pretty much always going to ask you how my sound is. Although I am using the same setup as before, so um, hopefully the sound is as good as it was last week. Hi, Yukiko. Yukiko says, sounds great. Thank you very much. All right, today I want to talk to you about what I did this weekend and how it applies to you. I have mentioned kind of in passing in a previous video that I am in the middle of buying a business with a couple of my friends. And it's a brick and mortar business, and we are still in the research phase. Okay. And I'm not going to really get into the details of the business because that's, I share all my stuff, but this is a project I'm doing with other people. So I don't want to share all that until we're ready to launch. We're ready to open the doors. It's a brick and mortar business. And so we spent all of Sunday together driving from business to business that is similar to the kind of business that we want to open. Greetings and salutations back, Rachel. Thank you. So we went business to business and we took notes and we did a lot of research. We went to all these different businesses. We picked things at random. Like we Googled all these different locations that would be potential competitors. And the only research we did in advance was try to figure out what neighborhoods we thought would be best for us. And we went to those neighborhoods and went to various locations of the different businesses. And we went in and we scoped out the pricing. We scoped out just how everything was set up, the layout. We talked to customers and asked them what they liked and didn't like. If it was busy, we would ask them, oh, is it always this busy? If it was not busy, we would be like, oh, is it always dead like this? And, they would be like, oh, well, actually, it's usually really busy on the weekends. I don't know why it's dead today. And because customers, they don't have, for the most part, ulterior motives to tell you what's going on with that business. Like owners, employees for the most part, they'll tell you. But owners, they have a lot of things to hide, whatever. And so you might not get the straight up answers from them, but you will get them from the customers there. Hi, Ellen. Right on time. And so we went around and talked to people and I took notes, and I actually, when I got home, I organized all that information in a spreadsheet to share with my business partners. And here's the thing is all three of us, we walked, like the four of us, excuse me, the four of us, we kind of went in the day, we started the day with kind of this idea of what we thought we would find. And we thought we were just going to get confirmation on what we already thought and knew about this sector, this kind of business. And no, no. We were right on some of it. It's not like we're completely, ding dongs, but there were a lot of things like the way some of these business owners manipulate the pricing, the way the pricing is done in different ways, the way the businesses are set up. We thought that people would cater to more customization. A lot of people don't care about that. A lot of people do not care. And it also really depends on the location, like the kinds of services you offer. are really reliant on the location you're in. It's a very location based business. And so, you know, we walked away learning a lot of things, learning about how technology features in on the kind of business we want to run and how much of that technology we want to feature in our business. We learned so much. And I don't know how many business I made a spreadsheet, okay? I don't know if you know, but Ms. Zoe Hong loves a spreadsheet. Okay. I do my content calendar on a spreadsheet. I do all of my notes on spreadsheets. Okay. Microsoft Word tables could never. Google Docs, no. What am I gonna do? Bullet points? No. No. I'm a spreadsheets girl. So we went to like a dozen places and I took notes. I wrote like what city they're in because this is LA. Okay. LA is not a city so much as a bunch of cities stuck together pretending to be one big city. And I'm not talking about LA County, I'm talking about just LA, the city. It's still just a bunch of cities, small cities stuck together pretending to be one big city. Um, and then LA County is like even more of an extension of that. And so, I wrote like where they were, their basic description, their names, some of their pricing, our first impressions, and then our opinions upon leaving the establishment and what we can learn from them. And then I have like a list of things that I changed my mind about and learned overall about this business as we left. That's right, Rachel. Let's hear it for spreadsheets. All right. And so when I say go do your research, like, I mean, go do it. Okay. I have my face on today. I'm going to go put lipstick on once I'm done drinking my coffee. But I have my face on today because I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to go shopping and I'm going to go shopping at some bougie places. And those bougie places, you going to have to look like, you have some money. And so when I go to those places, I do put my eyebrows on. And so, yeah, after I get off this live, my husband and I are going to go shop at some bougie places and go look at some stuff and take notes. And I really emphasize the taking notes because I think y'all think you're going to retain everything, and maybe you can. Listen, I don't know you, okay? I had like one of my live streams, I had a whole conversation with like a couple of people all about deep diving into calculus and its usage in real life, okay? So I don't know y'all, but I just don't want to remember it. Like, I only have so much room in my brain. So I'm going to write it all down, okay? This is my regular planner, and I carry it everywhere. I calendar, analog, and I write notes all the time because I don't like remembering things. It's annoying. If something sticks in my brain because it was so memorable, that's one thing, but I don't really like remembering stuff. I'm a pretty good rememberer, but yeah, I just write everything down. And all the things, those first impressions, and write it all down. I think a lot of people go into business, whether it's fashion or any other business, thinking they know what's up because they're like, well, if I didn't know about it, I wouldn't even be interested in opening up a similar business. But I know about it because, let's say, for example, you want to open a coffee shop and you're like, I am a coffee whore, and I have been to every coffee shop within a 7-mile radius of my home. I know everything about coffee shops. But like, if you start making a spreadsheet of the pricing in your area or the neighborhood you would like to be in and see how people are pricing things and the kind of vibe, like what kind of vibe are you looking for? Are you looking for a place where people come with their laptops and just camp out for a couple of hours? Are you looking for a place that is like super cute and everyone wants to come and Instagram it? And that'll blow you up on socials, but you're going to get that kind of crowd where everyone is coming, taking pictures with your Instagram backdrop, maybe not even buying a coffee and then taking off. Or do you want that early morning crowd? Like, you want to be known for, you got that great coffee first thing in the morning, you're a speedy service, you got that morning rush, in and out. not a lot of tables, no computer chargers. Like, what's the vibe? And so you need to be looking at those kinds of businesses and other businesses and how they charge for things. Because, listen, people think that coffee is expensive, and it can be. It can totally be expensive. But a lot of shop owners, they are considering the rent. They are considering, like, if they're establishment that encourages people or they're set up for people to just camp out and work, they're also like thinking about that sort of thing when they're setting up their establishment, because those are the people who have larger coffee shops and they're paying rent on those large coffee shops to accommodate all those people who are doing work at those places. There's this one coffee shop I used to go to in Oakland, and I really enjoyed it, but sometimes it would get really noisy in there because they had these community tables and people would come and have like full on work meetings at the at these community tables, and it would get really noisy with a lot of background noise. So you have to think about the brand you're trying to create, and whether you're doing a brick and mortar store or not, that's not the point. Okay, stop taking my advice so literally. You have to think about, what is the brand you're trying to create, what is the price point that you want to deliver at. I get a ton of people saying that they want to do the next great luxury. And listen, you're not selling pants at $300, okay? There was a conversation on Threads the other day, again, and this is a conversation that comes up a lot, is Coach luxury? Coach is not luxury, okay? They call it affordable luxury. If you have to put a modifier in front of the word luxury, it's not luxury, okay? It's not. Luxury is a particular price point, a particular lifestyle, a particular branding. And once you put the word attainable, affordable, those kinds of words in front of it, modifiers, it's no longer luxury, because the whole point of luxury is you've created this aura of unattainable, unaffordable, only for the few, exclusive, elite. Like that's the allure of luxury. You want something not everyone can have. Coach is something that is attainable for a lot of people. Not everyone, but a lot of people can afford Coach. Maybe not every day, but for your birthday, if you save up for a special occasion as a big gift, And so Coach is attainable. It is affordable. And for a lot of people, and automatically that's not luxury. The whole affordable luxury thing is just a marketing tag. It's not luxury. So if you want to do true luxury, then you have to be at those price points. And if you want to be at those price points and have people interested in you, you really have to understand luxury craftsmanship, luxury quality. And you are not going to understand that luxury craftsmanship behind a computer screen. Not in this day of AI or even Photoshop or even basic video editing. It's just not going to happen. Okay, even before AI and video, all this stuff, just basic Photoshop. I went to art school starting from the 90s, and I was watching these digital media kids be just absolute whizzes in Adobe Photoshop. I didn't start learning Photoshop until my sophomore year. And the things that they could do with the photo, just wow. So you cannot, like, I'm not even that great at Photoshop. I mostly use it to make video thumbnails now. But you can clean up and tighten stitching. You can remove all kinds of blemishes with even the most basic Photoshop skills. So you cannot learn that stuff behind a computer screen. I could have sat here and Googled all these businesses, and I did Google the businesses. I did read Google reviews to see what other people thought about the businesses and what customers were saying online. I did do that. I mapped them. I checked out what neighborhood they were in and how that pertains and stuff. whether you want to be in a very business, high traffic, popular location and how that's going to affect your rent versus you want to be in a more cozy, up and coming, like still growing neighborhood. Rent is going to be cheaper, but it's also not going to bring as much foot traffic. And so you're going to have to create that foot traffic, whatever that is, and whatever the online version of that is. You can't just do it behind a computer screen. You have to go to the businesses. Like the vibe of standing in the parking lot of these businesses is really different than checking it out on Google Street View. Different example. The first time I went to Paris, well, the first time I went to Paris was 99. It was a school trip. But the second time I went to Paris was January of this year. And last year when we were planning for the trip, my husband and I were looking at these hotels and we were looking at the street view maps in front of the hotels, and these street view maps made the neighborhoods just look so dreary and desolate and like they were in the worst neighborhoods. And people kept saying, oh, no, like, stay in the Marais, like this is a great arrondissement, like all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take your word for it, but these street view maps they suck. Like they don't look like they're in the middle. And then you would look at the map and you would see that they're next to all these businesses. And I'm like, I get there, neighborhood's great. Like the oldest bakery that still makes croissants was like a 2-minute walk from the first hotel we stayed at. Amazing, impeccable, wonderful. We were around the corner from like the cutest street full of shops with like, produce markets and bakeries. And okay, Google Street View, you ain't shit, all right? Like, whatever. It was not helpful. So I don't even trust Google Street View anymore. So I'm so glad I went to actually these businesses to look around. And so whatever you see online, that you can do a lot of stuff online. You can find out a lot of information, but that cannot be your only place to find inspiration or to find information. Rachel says, I took one single Photoshop class in college and haven't trusted a single professional photo since. Listen. There is this Reddit, there's this subreddit, and I'm not a member, but it pops up in my feed sometimes. Do not try to find me on Reddit. I am not findable. I am not Zoe Hong on Reddit. Okay. It's like my one private corner of the internet. All right. Leave me alone. And there's this thread where people like they Photoshop photos. And usually like the bulk of them are like really nice. Like, I love this photo of my kids, but can you just like clean up the drool? Like there's like a patch of drool on my baby's t-shirt. Can we just clean that up so it's a nicer picture? Like it's like well-meaning stuff like that. Or like, this is the last photo I have with my brother, but his ex-girlfriend is in the picture. Can you just take her out of it? So it's a fun group. But yeah, like some of those people in there, the ones who do the Photoshop, and yeah, there are a lot of listings where people will tip, like they'll Venmo or whatever, the people who do a great job Photoshopping. Some of those people are incredible. Like, it's like that ex-girlfriend was never there. Like, what is happening? Yeah. Atelier Pao says, will you be in Paris end of the month? Really enjoyed the backstage behind the scenes view you gave us. Okay, so I have no trips to Paris planned as of now. I don't know when I will be planning a return to Paris. My last 2 trips to Paris were fun, and so I'm not against going, but I would also like to go to other places. Like, I still really want to go to either New York or Amsterdam for a Kingpins show, which is the denim trade show that I'm most excited about attending. And I want to go back to Japan, unrelated to denim. Like, of course, I'll buy selvage denim when I'm in Japan, but just in general, I would like to go to Korea. I have really conflicting feelings about going to Korea because I have not been since I left. I left in the 80s, okay, to immigrate here to the US. And uh yeah, it's emotional and complicated, which going to Japan and France, like they're not for me. Like they're just countries I can visit without a lot of loaded stuff with family and blah blah blah. And I would feel weird trying to like stealth mode visit Korea without contacting any family. I mean, I do have a cousin I actually like and would love to see in Korea, and that's about it. Mm. Hi, Zoe from Indonesia. Hello to Indonesia. Listen, I was having some freaking, like, I got introduced to Indonesian food for the first time a few weeks ago. And now I'm just like obsessed, obsessed. And this is LA. You can find a lot of different kinds of food here. So I am trying really hard to find some really good Indonesian eats so that I can expand my Indonesian food repertoire because that food was fire. Hi, Violet Femme. How are you? Yukiko, do you have any favorite fabric stores in LA? I'm going to downtown LA for work. If I get a chance, I want to explore. Yes. Okay. So I am actually going to start a series here. I was going to do a series of shorts, YouTube shorts, where I do one short devoted to a different fabric store. But I have a lot of places I go to on the regs. And since, my live stream fan, I will share with you first. Uh, so when I was going to fashion school here in LA, our campus used to be in downtown LA. The fashion campus has since moved back to where the main campus is over in Westchester, but Otis at the time, the fashion campus was in downtown. So we used to just go pop into the garment district to go look for stuff all the time. The number one store we went to was a place called Michael Levine, and it is on Maple and Ninth. I think that's the intersection. You know how when you go to a place so often, you forget the address, you forget exactly where it is because you just know how to get there. It's kind of like that. But Michael Levine is huge, huge. It's a huge store and it has a little bit of everything. Their trim section is bonkers. Their sewing notion section it's okay. It's okay. But they have a little bit of everything and it's a great place to start. It's a good, and I send people there when they want to just look at a little bit of everything and try to just get inspired by just like looking at stuff because it has a little bit of everything. So Michael Levine is a good place, and there is a Mood Fabrics in LA, but it's not in the garment district with all the other fabric stores. It is a little bit away. It's over by the convention center. It is close to downtown LA, but it is over by the convention center, and it is not a walking distance from the garment district. But the Mood Fabrics in LA is really nice. I have heard that it is expensive. And so I would say do some price comparison before you make any purchases. But the Mood Fabrics in LA is a very pretty store, and it has a lot of things. Hi, Kamal. Hello to Nigeria. Love to Nigeria. Thank you. If you are interested in wool, menswear fabrics, wovens, some linens, but mostly wool, and tailoring supplies, I recommend B Black and Sons. So that's B. Black and Sons. And they have been around, I'm going to say the 40s, maybe older. I haven't been in a minute, but they used to have these big posters of like the store staff from back in the day, like all sepia tone. And so if you are looking for your beautiful suiting fabrics and tailoring supplies, B Black and Sons, that's over on Los Angeles and 6th. And then a recent gem I discovered is Journal Fabrics, and they are over closer to Michael Levine's on 8th. They're along 8th. Journal Fabric. Ask for Bob. Tell him Zoe from YouTube sent you. I don't know if that's going to give you a discount, but just say hi to Bob. He's very cool. And he's over at Journal Fabric. Journal Fabric just has a lot of everything. Like in the beginning of the store, it looks kind of small, but it just goes back, back, back. And then you make a U turn and it's like more, more. It's like a lot bigger than it looks from the outside. If you are looking for sewing supplies, machines, dress forms, rulers, tools, I recommend Ace Sewing. They're run by Koreans, but that's not why I recommend them. It's just they have a very clean shop. They have a lot of different things. They have like a upper story loft where you can see a bunch of brand new dress forms like up there, and they have a lot of sewing supplies and stuff. I actually took my Patreon group there when we did a field trip around downtown LA, and I would say almost everyone bought something at A Sewing. So they're a good shop for sewing supplies. Hello, Gaurav. Hello to India. Hello, hello. And yeah, I had like 400 new subscribers show up to Operation Reentry last week because, oh yeah, the whole demonetization thing. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So that one is a good one. And then all along Maple, like 8th and 9th and 10th, are a lot of where the fabric stores are. There's a lot of trim shops. When you get closer to 8th on Maple, you'll see where you can get a lot of buttons, ribbons, notions, crystals, beads, like all kinds of beads, like that sort of thing. That's where those shops are. And there's also a really fun store on that street that sells patches, like iron-on patches for your jacket. By the way, iron-on patches, I always sew them down, FYI. Like, I don't trust those iron-on glue. No, I always sew them down, but the patches are super fun. So, let's see. Hello, greetings from San Bernardino. Hello, neighbor. Thank you for the insight you share on your two channels. I want to start selling handmade general size corsets like small, medium, large, and pop up markets. Listen, there are so many like flea markets and that sort of thing all around LA County, and I'm sure further out east. But it's like a really quick commute to come into LA and, do Rose Bowl flea. Girlfriend of mine is doing Silver Lake flea. The flea market is a weird term that I think means a lot of different things now, and plenty of people sell newly made, never before worn garments at these places now. So, yeah, there's so many markets. And I think it would be a welcome change from all the t-shirt crap I see. Like, I went on a rant at some point where I'd gone to a flea market. I think it was Los Feliz, and it was just a sea, an ocean. What's bigger than an ocean? Nothing, okay? Have you seen the Pacific on a globe? Nothing is bigger than the Pacific Ocean. An ocean of secondhand t-shirts, which is like bullshit. So I think some of those flea markets could use an injection of things that aren't t-shirts, to be honest. So good luck. Have fun. What is your favorite fashion design exercise? All the ones in my book. Fashion school in the book. Like the difference between my book and a lot of other fashion design books is I have exercises. And it's not like you have to do this, you have to do that, but it's like a lot of other books will be like, all right, well, take your inspiration and develop some silhouettes. And you're like, how? And I literally give you exercises on how to do that. It's like, explore this way. And I do examples in the book of my own, of like doing my own exercises. And so, and it appeals to a lot of different kinds of thinkers. Some people think really 3D. Okay. That's an exercise where I take a scrap of fabric and I drape it on my dress form, just like a part, one shoulder, one hip, whatever. And then I take pictures of it and then I print them out or I just cut and paste them in Photoshop and I play around with it and I manipulate it and place it around the body in different ways to create new designs. And then, as you can see here, you can see I have this one drape and I put it here, put it here, put it here, put it here, and then I drew out the rest of the design around the drape. So if you are more 3D inclined and enjoy draping on a dress form and stuff, like that is one way to do it. Wait, where's the one? I have so many. What am I supposed to do with it? Another one I like to do, if you're more about sketching, is to take I have 4 sketches of dresses. I cut them horizontally and then I put them back together. I tape them back together to create completely new silhouettes. Okay? So that's one that's fun that I really enjoy doing because you really end up with silhouettes you had never considered before. So that's one for sketchers, that's one for drapers, and then I have so many other exercises in the book. Yeah, you do see a lot of t-shirts. There's so many t-shirts. It's just people who are like, let me get rid of all these t-shirts at this flea market. And it's like, on the one hand, I am happy to see that because, yeah, buy all the secondhand t-shirts instead of buying like new t-shirts. Like, who needs a new t-shirt? It's like, oh my God, I do buy new t-shirts, but there's like, it's a designed shirt as opposed to like a Hanes blank or a Gildan blank with a screen print. When I buy t-shirts, it's usually like, the last t-shirt I bought in Paris at APC, and it's a rugby stripe in these 2 colors that I love. So it's like a properly designed t-shirt in colors I like. And the cut was really nice because instead of it being all the way down to the elbow, which a lot of men's t-shirts are, or this teeny tiny itty bitty sleeve that I hate that a lot of women's t-shirts are because I don't like showing my arms in public, it is literally like right in the middle. It's the perfect sleeve length for me, right in the middle of my upper arm. So it covers the parts I don't like, but it's not like all the way down to the elbow so it looks sloppy. So it's like a designed t-shirt and not just like, let me put a stupid logo on a blank ready-made. Completely different things. Rachel says, I really loved all the design exercises in your book. I've never seen various design techniques explained so clearly and in so many ways. Thank you. If you also want a copy of my book, please do go to zoehong.com, ZOEHONG.com, and there will be links and FAQ section on how to buy my books. Yeah. So after my live, I am going to go. What was I talking about before? This is what happens when you have like ADHD. Fabric stores in downtown. So yeah, that whole Maple along 8th, 9th, they kind of peter out before you go down to Los Angeles Street, but that intersection has a lot of places. And then B Black and Sons is up on 6th in Los Angeles. And Mood Fabrics at the convention center. If you're over in Mid-City, I used to go to International Silks and Woolens on Beverly quite often when I was in college. And they have a lot of silks and woolens. thus the name. But they also have other fabrications as well. They're just really known for their silks and woolens. They have, like the super 120s and the fine suitings in their wool section, which is kind of the middle section of their store towards the back. And then they have a whole section of silks. They have this wall where you can get any base silk solid in a million colors. Like they have like a solid silk charmeuse available in a bunch of colors, and they have a solid silk organza available in a bunch of colors, like that sort of thing. So that's a good store to check out if you're in Mid City. And I think that's it for fabric recommendations. I do plan on, now that I'm back in LA, exploring more options. But I mean, that should set you up for an afternoon. I bought an elbow length sleeve shirt once. I've never been so disgusted in my life. Also, hi, Zoe. You know why? Especially for women, because elbows sit at your waist. Okay? That's for everybody. Like basic proportions. Like I've taught so much figure drawing, and if you've taken any of my figure drawing classes, you've heard me say this already. Your elbows sit right about where your waist is, give or take. Okay? And so for women, a lot of the time, that's our smallest part and a place where we would like to look smaller. So to put your sleeve right there, it widens your waist. Okay? A place where most people would like to look smaller if they're concerned with that sort of thing. And so to have their sleeve like I have pajama shirts that end there, and I don't care because they're floppy, loose, 20 years old pajama shirts. But if you're trying to design like a beautiful t-shirt, again, designing a t-shirt, slapping a screen print on a t-shirt, two completely different things. If you're trying to design a t-shirt, I say be really thoughtful about where that sleeve ends, especially for women. I think guys are just, even for guys, you know what's hot on guys? It's like, because the t-shirt I bought at APC is menswear. When that sleeve ends right across the bicep, your bicep looks bigger. It looks wider right there because it's cutting it off right there. Guys like their biceps to look bigger. Like show us your guns, man. Like that's a good place to look wider, you know? And so that's a good place to cut off a sleeve hem. And yeah, if you are going to be designing proper t-shirts, you should be obsessive about those kinds of details. Okay? Yeah, so that's the last t-shirt I bought. I love it. I wear it all the time. It's really great. I think did I miss some comments? No. Having a hard time going to fabric stores, having lived in Dongdaemun, nothing will ever come close except Gwangju maybe. Yeah, so much to see and discover. Yeah, I've never been, but I like to like Dongdaemun and like markets in Korea and stuff like that. But have you heard of Swatchon? So Swatchon, they are a company based in Korea, and they have essentially taken all those fabric markets and brought them online. Like they work with the fabric markets, all those individual sellers in Korea, and they present those swatches online on their website to sell to designers around the world. And so you should check them out. It's been a minute, but the last time I saw their website, I really love their website because all their fabrics have these little short videos where you see a pair of hands manipulating the fabric. And so you can see how stiff something is, how see-through something is, anything you can kind of visualize on a swatch on camera, because they move it around and they kind of fold it and stuff like that. They do a lot of these kinds of like messing around on camera, like these tiny short video clips on all their swatch listings. So yeah, hold on. Do But yeah, like I've ordered swatches from them before. I did a brand deal with them early days on my channel, like 2017, something like that, like super early on, and on my main channel. And so, they sent over some really great swatches. And so, yeah, if you are missing that experience and seeing like 100 million different things online, swatch on. And they're all over social media, so you can go check them out on Instagram, on Threads, like all that thing. Sleeve length has the power to affect my quality of life. I'm not proud of it, but that's how it is. Listen, pet peeve about sleeves. Cap sleeve is not a sleeve. Okay? It's a shoulder covering, but it's not a sleeve. When I hear the word sleeve, I expect a certain amount of my arm covered and my armpit to be covered. If I can see armpit hair sticking out because it's a cap sleeve and it only has like an inch underarm that got squished in by your armpit sweat, that's not a sleeve. That's not a sleeve. Okay? And so, like, what it really annoys me is when I'm shopping online and you can filter for sleeve length or what have you. And these programmers decide that a cap sleeve is an actual sleeve. And so when I'm trying to scroll through, dresses with sleeves, because I don't like showing my arms in public, they're still showing cap sleeves. I'm like, no, absolutely not. No. Cap sleeves are not sleeves. Listen, cap sleeves, if you like showing your arms in public, awesome, amazing. I know that's a majority of people. Cap sleeves have the ability to be flattering because it gives your shoulder some shape. It creates kind of a V effect to make your waist look smaller. And so it can be very flattering. There's that word again, flattering. But some people really like that look on themselves. And that's fine. It's still not a sleeve. It's a shoulder covering. Okay? Call it a shoulder cap because that's what it is. But it's not a sleeve. It's not a sleeve. Petition to stop calling them sleeves. Just call them shoulder caps because that's what they are. Agreed about the bicep cutoff on sleeves. Thank you. Oh, for the Swatch On rec? Yeah, go check them out. 100% checking out Swatch On. Thanks for the tip. I discovered Swatch On by accident. I've yet to buy from them. Yeah, I've never bought an actual quantity from them. I do have some very nice swatches from them, but they are kind of old, so I'm assuming they might not have those exact fabrics, which, I mean, that's most fabric people. I need to do a comparison with mood, duties, shipping. Listen. Yeah. There's that spreadsheet thing again. Put together a spreadsheet and do a price comparison. Here's another good way to use spreadsheets. Speaking, thank you, Stacy, for bringing this up to do price comparison. Is people ask me all the time, like, so I want to make X, and this factory quoted me XYZ pricing. Do you think that's fair? And my answer is always, I don't know, because there's so many factors. First of all, I cannot decide how much anyone should charge for the making of a product unless I see a tech back or some sort of detail. Just to say you're making pants doesn't say anything, okay? There are a lot of different kinds of pants out there, okay? And so please do not send me tech packs. That's not an invitation for you to send me tech packs. I'm just going to send you a link to my consulting company, okay? And then the pricing includes what services that factory is going to do. Like, are they doing all the sampling? Are they doing just the production? Do you get any, and did you ask for any quantities? Like, are you saying this is the price for making 50 pants, which is probably going to be a lot higher than if you ask for 500 pairs of pants? So are there any volume breaks? What country are you getting these sent from? Because, some countries are going to be more expensive than other countries. So, $20 at this country might be a ripoff, and $20 from this other country might actually be comparable to what's going on in that country. And then you're going to talk about tariffs, taxes, shipping, So when you are shopping for a production facility, I recommend doing another spreadsheet to weigh out the pros and cons of where to do your business, where to do your production. So you can evaluate, okay, well, this place is a little bit more expensive, but they're closer to me. So shipping's going to be cheaper. Shipping's going to be faster. They're at a better time zone. So I don't have to wait 13 hours for like the delay, and I can do more conference calls because we're in a tighter time zone. Like, they're like the tariffs. I'm in the US and the tariffs are at a lower percentage bracket at this point. Like, there are a lot of variables involved with that. And so it might end up with all the variables that each pair of pants to produce at the slightly more expensive CMT is going to be cheaper in the long run. That is good for spreadsheets. Like, don't try to remember all that stuff. You're going to forget something. You're going to cross hairs, make a spreadsheet. Factory X, these are the terms. Factory Y, these are the terms. This is the country. This is what they do. Also, this is their expertise and, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. So, do your research. That is the theme of today. Do your research. Hello to Italy. And I cannot stress this enough. The time you have before you launch your business is you need to cherish that time to do all the background research that you possibly can in terms of development, sourcing, all these things. And because you're never going to have as much time once you get going, once you launch, there's going to be a certain expectation of companies expecting you to, or customers expecting you to churn out regular collections. I'm not saying they're expecting you to be Shein, but they're expecting you to have new things on regular intervals. Whatever intervals work for you, whatever intervals you've communicated with your customer. And so you're just never going to have as much time to do all this research, development, sourcing, like information gathering as you do before you launch, which is what I'm doing now, is information gathering before I launch and taking my time and being thoughtful. One of my business partners, we were at this one what were we talking about? Yeah. Sorry, brain fart. One of my business partners and I, we were talking, and they said, this place, we were at one of these businesses, and he's like, this place makes me feel good about spending my money here. Like, they're doing a good job using my money. And it's a conversation we kept having over the weekend because, I've moved into this building and I haven't been here for very long. And I'd been telling my friends about the apartment hunting process. And I had said to them, I didn't want a place with too many bougie amenities because I don't want my rent money going to these bougie amenities that I'm never going to use, that I have no use for. If you like those kinds of amenities and you're going to use them, yeah, that's great for you. But for me, I don't drink. So we looked at this apartment and they have a wine cellar. They have a temperature controlled wine cellar / tasting area with like a really nice table and chairs. And you can rent these lockers where you can store your wine in these special refrigerators. If you're a wine connoisseur, amazing, wonderful. I don't drink any alcohol. So the idea of my rent money going to something like this seems like a complete waste. There's another place that had all their parking, instead of having a garage or a lot, all their parking was valet parking. And I'm like, no, my rent is paying for a service I don't even like. I don't even like valet parking at restaurants. I just don't like it. I like parking my own car. Okay? It's just a Zoe thing, okay? But they valet park all residents parking. You don't know where your car is going. You don't know who's touching your car. You don't know who's looking at your car. I don't like none of that. I don't like none of that. And so that was like an instant no for me. And then I was also like, I don't want my rent money going into this service that I cannot opt out of. No. So I don't want to spend my money at this building because these are amenities. And like my building, the one I live in, they do have some nice amenities. I think the lobby is way too fancy, but they have like kind of normal amenities. They have a gym, they have a small gym, they have a pool, they have conference rooms that you can book if you want to have like some sort of gathering. They're live workspaces. So if you wanted to have a bigger building outside of your apartment, you can rent out a conference room, book out a conference room. These are amenities that make sense to me that I feel good about, chipping in my rent towards. When we were at this one business, it was like, oh, this is set up nice and this is set up nice. And, maybe I'm not going to use this particular thing, but it all made sense for that business. And so I was like, okay, I feel good about spending my money at this place, So think about how a person is going to feel spending their money on your product, and are they going to feel good about it? Because even if it's a little bit more expensive, if your value proposition as a whole business and not just this one dress is appealing, people will buy from you and they'll come back to you. Dude, an apartment with a wine cellar? Nope. Any wine I'm holding on to is going to have to tough it out at room temp. See, I don't drink wine, so I don't even have an opinion on that. I don't even know if that's sacrilegious to say or not. Like back when I was younger, I quit drinking when I was 24. Not because I'm an alcoholic. My body would get super, super warm and then I get sleepy. And it's like, none of that is good for a social life. Like, oh, I'm hanging out with my friends and now I want to sleep, whatever. So I don't miss alcohol, but I never drank wine even when I did drink in my 20s. So like, I don't even know. I do know people get real like in their feelings about how different alcohols are kept. I don't know. So... And, everyone has their thing. Like I'm working on that rayon video, and I'll tell you right now, rayon, you have to store it in a dry place. If you store it in a like kind of damp place, rayon will mildew because it is made of cellulose fibers. So, that's my thing. People think wine is their thing, whatever. But yeah, like, you have to think about the value proposition of your whole brand, and you have to do some real careful thinking and some background research to find how your value proposition is going to be unique. And so, yeah, go do your research. I'm very excited about the rayon video too. I had to go through so many books, but it's going to be good. Like, I'm going to talk about lyocell. I'm going to talk about rayon, the qualities of rayon, little background history on rayon, how rayon is used. And I have a bucket back here. You see that bucket? It's full of rayon swatches I'm going to show on camera. Okay. So, are you finding a lot of inspiration being in a new city like LA? In terms of design, no. I don't think not really, but I'm a generally happier person being in LA, which is helping my creativity. But I'm not like sitting around people watching and enjoying being in LA. I am excited to, I know that LA has a lot of fantastic museums. And so I'm going to enjoy having access to those museums in a way I didn't before. So there is that. But yeah. All right. I'm going to end it here. Go do your research, and not only do your research, but take notes, make some spreadsheets so you don't have to try to keep track of everything in your brain, and get organized. Creativity in business, okay? Fashion is always the intersection of art and commerce. Creativity in business needs to be equal amounts logistics and courage to go and be creative and try new things and explore design concepts and, express your designer's point of view, but also the logistics, which is how you can run a functioning business for more than 2 seasons. All right. I'll see you on Friday for Watch Me Design a Fashion Collection Season 3, Episode 4. And I'll see you next Tuesday for my next live stream. If you have any topics you want me to discuss in the next live stream, drop them in the comments below. Let me know how you find the sound quality, and I will see you soon. Bye.